What's going on, guys? It's the Two Penny Gamescast here to bring you the news about the games industry that you love here. Not Tavin, thank God. I do not want to be Tavin. I'm Phil, stepping in to host this week, flipping the switchboards and all that jazz. But we do have a familiar face as usual. We have Connor Elliott. How you doing, Con?
I'm doing good. Co-host Connor is still here. I'm not going to abandon the show like Tavin.
In full effect.
I don't treat it as some kind of, weekend warrior type bullshit that I can just toss to the side whenever I feel like it.
We're serious about this, all right? We're serious.
Exactly.
Unlike Tavin. We're serious.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm only not here on like vacations. He just has whatever reason he can to not be here.
He manufactures whatever reasons he wants to,
Yeah.
He's looking for any reason to get out of this.
And he's striking, which is I always seem to forget, is when you take down a set on a stage on a Sunday. Sounds kind of suspiciously bullshit to me.
He could be out there striking, supporting the writer's strike, or the actor's strike. Writer's strike has come to a consensus, or somewhat a consensus. But he could be out there supporting the actor's strike, which he's not. He is just taking down the set of a show that I didn't even know that he was participating in. So
he's got to do it for credits and whatnot.
Yeah,
he's doing schooling.
Yeah, that's fair.
I did think that he was talking about strikes at first, like something for waiters for BJ's or something like that, and I was like,
a service industry
I didn't know
strike?
they were doing stuff. Yeah, right. I was like, I didn't know they did that. I thought it was just the writers and stuff. Good on them, but nothing so lofty.
The servers union.
Mm-hmm. Which I do not think there's such a thing. But
yeah,
here we are. Games.
Here we are. You had a nice little party last night. How did that go?
I did. It went very nice. I made some birria tacos, drank as you do, among other things. It was nice. Had some people over. Dude, no noise complaints.
I fucking love birria, dude. It's fucking good stuff.
Yeah. I made it with beef this time around, so I didn't do any of the goat. Apparently the lamb, which people also do. But beef does just as, some might say better, since it has an easier flavor profile to get into, as opposed to like goat and lamb, which some people are particular about.
I think that's a fair thing to say. Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it. Plans happen right before you send out that message.
What are you gonna?
I'll hop in the next one. I still do want to check out y'all's new place.
Yeah, we need to get you over here for
sure.
Time.
For sure. Whenever that might be, hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Might as well.
Connor, let's stop with all the pleasantries and all the bullshit. Let's start hopping into this news. All right, Connor. So our first story this week.
I must do something.
Yeah. What do you
Tavin, this is the only thing about Tavin that he does that I will commend in this moment, which is the plugs. We never do our plugs. I almost forgot. Well, see, remembering them off the top of our head for all the shit we give Tavin about his spiel.
That's fair.
That he does.
That's fair.
He knows he's got it down. But you can find us, the Two Penny Games, on YouTube. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Spotify. The big joints. And just listen to all our stuff that we did.
The big joints. Like man, you've been around Tavin too long.
Mm-hmm. No, I just watched the Spike Lee film recently.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, of course, you can catch all of our links in the description as well.
Of course.
Oh, I just realized I need to take down time codes, so let me go ahead and make sure that I'm doing that before we hop into our first story, Connor.
That's mamby-pamby bullshit.
I know. Hey, but I do have to do it. I do have to do it.
Well, at the very least, the cool thing we have on this at the end of the show is to stick around for a review from Phil on Assassin's Creed Mirage.
It's true. I will be reviewing Assassin's Creed Mirage. Those of you who listened to or watched the Piggy Bank this past week, you heard that I was feeling some ways about that game.
You kept tight-lipped on. So I have zero clue how you're gonna, interpret this game. You're not one of the big fans of the old Assassin's Creed games, or at least not one of the radical fans.
I'm not one of the ones who misses it. I'm not one of the ones who misses the old way. I mean, if you give me an I love Assassin's Creed, but I'll take it however you give it to me. I'm not one of those guys like, oh man, I want the more focused on stealth. I hate this fucking RPG shit. I thought the stealth in the newer games is still just fine. I liked the open world being able to climb everything, but Connor, I'm getting too far in the weeds. This is not my Assassin's Creed review yet.
Not yet.
We'll get into that as we get into it. Connor, our first story this week is about Microsoft officially acquiring Activision Blizzard.
Yes.
I should say. So tell us about that.
So we got an article here from IGN. It's official. Microsoft has bought Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. From Wesley Yin-Poole. In a post on Xbox Wire, Xbox boss Phil Spencer said work has now begun bringing Activision Blizzard games to Game Pass. Although he stopped short of name-checking any titles, quote, today we start the work to bring beloved Activision Blizzard and King franchises to Game Pass and other platforms. We'll share more about when you can expect to play, what you can expect to play in the coming months. We know you're excited, and we are too. End quote. Spencer also delivered a message for existing players of Activision Blizzard games, suggesting multi-platform support will continue. Quote, for the millions of fans who love Activision, Blizzard, and King games, we want you to know that today is a good day to play, he said. You are the heart and soul of these franchises, and we are honored to have you as part of our community. Whether you play on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, or mobile, you are welcome here and will remain welcome, even if Xbox isn't where you play your favorite franchise. Because when everyone plays, we all win. We believe our news today will unlock a world of possibilities for more ways to play. Thank you for the ongoing support. We have so much more to come in the months ahead. I'm excited for the future and cannot wait to share it with you. End quote. Microsoft published a trailer. Boring, who cares? And here's the original story. That's the update. The meat of it. In April, the UK's Competition and Microsoft Markets Authority, CMA, blocked the acquisition, citing competition concerns around cloud gaming. Since then, Microsoft has defeated the U.S.'s Federal Trade Commission, FTC, in court, obtained approval from the key regulators, the European Commission, and secured an agreement with console rival Sony for the provision of Activision games on PlayStation for a decade.
I love the sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I love the Microsoft has defeated the U.S.'s FTC in court. It's a funny bit to me.
It sounds like Wesley Yin-Poole's a Microsoft shell. If you know what I'm saying?
We've defeated them. War is over.
Right. It's well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
In August, Microsoft submitted a new Activision Blizzard deal for review to the CMA that involves selling off Activision Cloud's gaming rights to Assassin's Creed maker Ubisoft, which would be free to port cloud versions of Activision Blizzard games to any platform. Now, the CMA has cleared the tweaked $69 billion deal, the largest in video game history, and paved the way for Microsoft to buy Activision. The CMA framed its decision as a victory for the preservation of competitive prices and better services in cloud gaming. Quote, in August this year, Microsoft made a concession that would see Ubisoft, instead of Microsoft, buy Activision's cloud gaming rights, the CMA said. This new deal will put the cloud streaming rights outside the EEA for all of Activision PCs and console content produced over the next 15 years in the hands of a strong and independent competitor with ambitious plans to offer new ways of accessing that content. Quote, the new deal will stop Microsoft from locking up competition in cloud gaming as this market takes off, preserving competitive prices and services for UK cloud gaming customers. It will allow Ubisoft to offer Activision's content under any business model, including through multi-game subscription services. It will also help to ensure that the cloud gaming providers will be able to use non-Windows operating systems for Activision content, reducing costs and increasing efficiency. End quote. Brad Smith, Vice Chair and President of Microsoft, said, we're grateful for the CMA's thorough review and decision today. We have now crossed the final regulatory hurdle to close this acquisition, which we believe will benefit players and the gaming industry worldwide. Meanwhile, trading in shares in Activision Blizzard were halted alongside the alert news pending, suggesting the deal is set to close imminently. Activision Blizzard boss Bobby Kotick emailed staff to hail the news. Quote, we now have all the regulatory approvals necessary to close, and we look forward to bringing joy and connection to even more players around the world, Kotick said. Our board chair, Brian Kelly, and I are incredibly proud of all of you and your accomplishments over the last 4 decades. We're excited for our next chapter together with Microsoft and the endless possibilities it creates for you and for our players. When the deal closes, Microsoft will own the likes of Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Candy Crush. Xbox is expected to add many of Activision Blizzard's games into its subscription service Game Pass, although Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Diablo 4 will be held back until next year. However, the FTC is soldiering on with its attempts to unravel the deal. Despite losing its high-profile court case in the summer, the FTC is waiting for a decision on its trial verdict appeal before moving forward with its own in-house trial, although both will come after Microsoft seals the deal. And in a new development, the FTC filed a submission to reopen discovery in order to gain more information on Microsoft's cloud gaming divestiture deal with Ubisoft and its deal with Sony to ensure Call of Duty remains on PlayStation consoles. Quote, "We remain focused on the federal appeal process despite Microsoft and Activision closing their deal in advance of a scheduled December appeals court hearing," an FTC spokesperson told IGN in an email. Microsoft and Activision's new agreement with Ubisoft presents a whole new facet to the merger that will affect American consumers, which the FTC will assess as part of its ongoing administrative proceeding. The FTC continues to believe that this deal is a threat to competition. Now, we just talked about Bobby Kotick there for a second, and I'll go into this next story that all ties itself together, unfortunately. Microsoft, this is from Kotaku, from Ethan Gach. Microsoft asked controversial Activision CEO Bobby Kotick to stay for 2 more months. Longtime Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick is almost gone, but not quite yet. Nearly 2 years after over 1,000 of his employees called on the controversial executive to resign, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer confirmed that Kotick will remain the head of the Call of Duty publisher until the end of 2023, to help with the transition as it begins officially merging with the tech giant. Quote, "Bobby Kotick has agreed to remain in his role through the end of 2023, reporting directly to me. To ensure a smooth and seamless integration," Spencer wrote in October 13th email to staff. "We look forward to working together as a unified team, and we will share more updates on our new organizational structure in the coming months. I have long said that I am fully committed to helping with the transition," Kotick wrote in his own email to Activision Blizzard employees. "Phil has asked me to stay on as CEO of Activision APK, reporting to him, and we have agreed that I will do that through the end of 2023. We both look forward to working together on a smooth integration for our team and players." Kotick's leadership at Activision has often been contentious, especially following a 2021 lawsuit by regulators in the state of California, alleging a history of sexual harassment and discrimination at the company. Activision Blizzard has denied those claims and continues to fight the lawsuit in court. But the allegations and subsequent reporting became a catalyst for hundreds of employees at the company to speak out against the CEO and even begin unionizing at some studios. A November 2021 investigation by the Wall Street Journal alleged that Kotick was aware of serious sexual misconduct incidents at the company and did not always report them to the board of directors. Activision called the reporting misleading, but in the wake of the story, gaming executives, including Sony's Jim Ryan, Nintendo of America's Doug Bowser, and Spencer himself, informed staff they were concerned about the allegations. The report also led over 1,000 Activision Blizzard employees to call for Kotick to resign amid large-scale walkouts. Instead, Microsoft swooped in to begin acquisition negotiations. According to reporting by Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal, the mounting calls for accountability and unease among some members of the board of directors were a factor in convincing Kotick to move ahead with selling Activision Blizzard. It's a deal that now looks set to provide him with nearly $400 million windfall in the sale of company stock. Even prior to the sexual harassment and discrimination allegations against the company, which spurred Kotick to announce a series of initiatives to make Activision Blizzard a more safe and inclusive workspace, developers working under him have often been critical of the executive's vision for aggressively monetizing franchises with sequels and pricey in-game items. The annual production of blockbuster Call of Duty games has been blamed for poor working conditions among quality assurance testers and extended periods of overtime crunch across the teams making them. Quote, "We see progress that they're making that was pretty fundamental to us deciding to go forward here," Spencer said of Activision plans to improve workplace culture in the wake of the California lawsuit, back when the merger was first announced in January 2022. More recently, Kotick had controversial comedian and former late-night host James Corden to come to Activision to interview him earlier this week. He told the Cat Star that this company had a magic culture, and it was that magic that first attracted Microsoft to the acquisition in the first place. Blah-de-da-de-da-de-da.
Sorry, about the whole James Corden thing. I saw a funny tweet that was like, haven't the ABK employees suffered enough already?
And apparently not, since they had a guy like James Corden, by the way, I should mention, has kind of notably been called out for being an asshole.
Yeah.
Particularly to people that he works with.
Yeah.
Apparently he's had outbursts at restaurants he's gone to where he acts like a privileged little maggot.
Like, do you know who I am? Yeah.
Exactly. He's a pathetic fuck. And so this is... Him doing anything with Bobby Kotick is just like...
It's a match made in heaven.
Confirms it. Yeah, right? It's a match made in heaven that just kind of shows that both these people probably suck.
I think of there was a... God, I can't remember what exactly he was doing, but he had someone on his show... And it was, it was that one, Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, right? So we're like,
Well, I know what you're. I know what. Okay. Yeah. I know
so
what
we
you're
have a bunch
talking about.
of gross stuff around the table, and the question was, I don't really have a question, but if you can tell me that person's name, you don't have to eat that, or something like that. And he had no idea what their name was, and he's been working with this person for years on this show.
And was it Jimmy Kimmel?
Might have been. It's like, if you can tell me any of their names, I will. I think he was like, I will eat this if you can tell me any of these people's names.
And he couldn't do it,
Nope.
which kind of continues his persona that we've kind of gotten from him. But that's James Corden. We're talking about video games.
Yeah.
Just to get it out of the way, because it's just finally done with, for better or for worse. The Blizzard Activision deal is closed after hearing about it since basically the show started.
Sure.
We can finally, hopefully, stop talking about it, at least in the capacity that we have been in regards to all of these court filings and whatnot. Even though the FTC still hasn't completely closed things, it's pretty. I don't see them doing anything at this point to interrupt this deal or prevent it from or breaking them up based off, like, I guess, monopoly laws, anti-monopoly laws.
Yeah.
None of that's gonna happen. So. We've talked extensively. I haven't, me and Tavin specifically. Phil, obviously, talk more about it since usually you aren't in this part of the Gamescast.
Sure.
Which is that the best avenue towards this deal was that no longer was the people in charge of Activision Blizzard, where we have just covered that all that sexual harassment and misconduct stuff was going on. The people who were allowing it to fester, like Bobby Kotick, because make no mistake, he's the CEO. He knew it was going on in some capacity. And he's not in the position to feel any blowback from this kind of stuff, despite us getting allegations that he knew about it and ignored it. And I was hoping that with the deal going by, even though, of course, they were going to get a bunch of money from it, which, unfortunately, being at the head of these companies and not facing any, justice for ignoring the sexual harassment and misconduct, they're going to be fine in this deal regardless. But at least they were going to be getting out, and possibly Microsoft could fix the entire situation over at Activision Blizzard. That was my original thought, and maybe that'll still happen. But in combination with the fact that Bobby Kotick is staying there for 2 more months, sure, it's only 2 more months, but what if they go beyond that? I thought he was going to leave right away, and he's sticking around. I hope he leaves so we can just get out of there. But I don't know, man. Bobby Kotick's a guy who's motivated by money. At the end of the day, that's what he cares about. Obviously, he, it covered it earlier in the story about how he really likes to just, what is it? Make big game sequels and in-game.
Yeah, it was
monetize franchises with sequels and pricey in-game items.
Yes, like the microtransactions and all that, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, that's his motivation. So I'm afraid with him staying on now that the deal's gone through, him possibly, deciding, well, maybe I'll take a capacity, not as CEO, but maybe on the board, maybe doing something like that.
Right.
Some easy role for him to get money. And if that occurs, along with whoever might also stay in from the transition from Activision Blizzard to being under the Microsoft umbrella, it just really shoots down one of the only actual positive attitudes I could see for this deal. Obviously, there's people bringing up issues of them controlling too much of the market. We know that they're in the future going to be preventing PlayStation gamers from playing some of these games that Activision Blizzard does, because Microsoft is trying to get a larger hold on the market because Sony is beating them. Everyone knows that, and so this is a faster path, one of many fast paths that they've been taking in the sense of acquiring many studios like Obsidian, for example, or I should say. Holy shit, I'm blanking. They got Bethesda. ZeniMax.
Yes, Bethesda.
Yes. Yeah, which they had gotten before this. It's any of the more positive aspects of this deal that I can think of, I'm less certain of after seeing this Bobby Kotick story. Because Spencer also, like it said in that one as well, spoke out and said these allegations are serious. But of course, when it comes to the actual money side of things, that just goes by the wayside. Maybe Phil Spencer does, have some kind of reservation with working about this, and he's just being made to because he's one part of a larger organization. But I think it is pretty weak sauce to him just, kind of ignore all that stuff and say, they're doing more things to prevent it.
Yeah. Though, you can stick around till the end of the year,
Yeah, right. Hopefully, but I don't know. I hope he doesn't stay in in the Activision Blizzard world, because clearly he's not the kind of guy that should be helping run this company, based just off how he treats the workers and how he's allowed the situations there to fester. So, it's definitely, we'll see the greater ramifications of this Activision Blizzard deal going through entirely, and I hope it doesn't really have any of the negative connotations I've been suspecting it'll have. Though, I don't know. Now that the deal's finally gone through, I'm like, okay, maybe I should have been a little bit more hardline on being against this. Not that it would have made a difference, of course.
Sure.
But
sure.
Something about this just doesn't smell right. In addition with this new story,
yeah.
But hopefully I'm disproven.
Yeah, I get you. Well said. Well said. Moving on from there. We're gonna go to Unity announcing a leadership transition. Yeah. You go ahead and handle this one as well, my friend.
Very boring looking article.
Yeah.
If you can call it an article. This is from Business Wire. Sorry, Business Wire. You do, I'm assuming good work. I'm burping now. Does this even have a writer? Well, I guess I'm not. This is Unity announces leadership transition. This is a company to release third quarter 2023 financial results on November 9th. Whatever. The world's leading platform for creating and growing real-time 3D content today announced that John Riccitiello will retire as president, chief executive officer, chairman, and a member of the company's board of directors, effective immediately. James M. Whitehurst has been appointed interim chief executive officer, president, and a member of the board. Roelof Botha, lead independent director of the Unity board, has been appointed chairman. Mr. Riccitiello will continue to advise Unity to ensure a smooth transition. The board will initiate a comprehensive search process with the assistance of a leading executive search firm to identify a permanent CEO. Quote, working with Unity under John's leadership has been one of the highlights of my career. John joined the Unity board in 2013 and stepped in to lead the company in 2014 at a time when we faced significant challenges, Mr. Botha said. John has led Unity through incredible growth over the last nearly 10 years, helping us transition from a perpetual license to a subscription model, enabling developers to monetize building other games. This left a bad taste in my mouth now.
I get you. Yeah.
Building other game services to serve our creator community, leading us through an IPO, and positioning us as a pioneer in the developer community. Unity would not be where it is today without the impact of his contributions. I remain excited for the future of Unity. It's been a privilege, yada yada yada. I'm not going to read any more of this bullshit business story. The whole thing is that they made the decision to move to, like they said, a subscription service, which originally required the developers who use Unity, which is something that I learned about in game development in high school, because that was just the base way to get into game development, because it was such an easy thing to use. But now they were making it to where every single time a download would be done with the game, they would owe a fee to Unity.
And that's what's crazy. So me and Tavin talked about this. I think it was the day where you were gone and I had to step in your shoes instead of Tavin's. We're just talking about how ridiculous it is that it's per download. That it's not per purchase, which I think would make much more sense. It's per download. So you could theoretically uninstall something or have to reinstall it, and then you have to pay the fee again. You know? And that only encourages like bad actors who want to punish this developer for, I don't know, maybe they didn't like the game, or maybe they don't like the developer for whatever reason, and they make bots to uninstall and reinstall this game repeatedly just so you can try to fuck over this indie developer, you know? Fucking terrible.
It's absolutely horrible. And now the guy who had kind of taken the brunt of those attacks, John Riccitiello, is stepping down. And I saw an interesting take on Twitter that I've, in these past couple days that I've been thinking about this story, have subscribed to, which is that they had him be the head of the company when they announced these horrible changes, which I doubt that they did that knowing that people were going to, just be fine with it. Obviously, the developers wholesale came out against it. Everyone was trashing on them. And so they weathered that storm. They made some changes to make it slightly better, though I think that doesn't exist for the higher tier of the services they offer. Overall, it made it better, but we know where they stand now. They lost any amount of trust that they ever had to begin with, which the interesting point that I saw being talked about online was that they had already planned this to be happening regardless of what occurred, him stepping down, and they, prior to this happening, released the changes to what they're going to do with Unity so that he can take the brunt of the attack, which he did. And once that's happened, he can step aside and they can basically just wash the slate clean with whoever comes next. And that reading this super businessy bullshit article kind of just makes me confirm that, where they're just it's a tactical decision to have him step down at this point when they just had all this controversy go through.
God damn.
And unfortunately, I'm afraid Unity will continue on in its capacity, and they'll continue to make money despite making horrible decisions with their business model. And I know it's unfortunate that there's many people who are just normal workers who work at Unity that had nothing to do with it whatsoever, but I do hope that Unity fails, collapses because of this, and that some other easy to access game development system is the one that takes over and is able to take advantage of the horrible decision that was done at Unity to become the top dog in entry level game design.
I see what you mean there. Like I don't know if I want it to necessarily fail, because like you said, there are people there that had nothing to do with this decision, and that would cause them to lose their jobs. But I do think that this will inevitably bring about somebody to. I mean, me and you, we're not game developers. We don't make these engines to have to. We don't make games. No, we don't. So none of this is necessitated to us. But when that's kind of the heart of engineering, is when there's a problem that needs to be solved, right? So when there's someone, it's going to happen where somebody's going to come up with something to kind of step around and become the new Unity, quote unquote, to be like the next top dog, like you said.
I said that I wouldn't want them to fail. Yeah. More so in the sense that someone else comes and takes their spot at the top.
Yes, I get you.
Yeah, because even though it would suck if people were to lose because if it were to take a step down and something else were to come into play, they would probably lose workers. They'd lay off people. But I think that's better than what would occur if studios that make games would have to lay people off due to the increased prices required for whatever stupid.
That would be like worst case.
It would be. So trust has been destroyed. Yes. Someone else should come into play to take over.
The saying I was looking for earlier was necessity is the heart of invention, or the mother of invention.
Exactly. And when you prove that the guy who's been the man on this front is no longer that is when innovation occurs. This is so stupid. When he got better since 2014, obviously not. I don't. Before this, I didn't see them causing any problems, but they certainly have now. And he was the head of the company at the time. So
yeah.
Even though, like I said, this kind of seems like a diversionary tactic to use him as a scapegoat, because they're still keeping him at the company. He's just stepping down as CEO.
Right.
And it just reads like they are just using him as the bulletproof vest. Yeah, the scapegoat. Unfortunately, they as of right now, we don't know what other systems are in play to take the place of Unity. Other companies exist to take over what Unity provides, because it's just a very good entry level game design program.
Yeah,
and they've established that foothold, and then they pulled the rug out from under the people that have relied on them for so many years. So hopefully something good will come of this. But optimism doesn't seem to be a place in the games industry that survives very long.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Kind of moving on from there, we have Disney looking to acquire a major publisher like EA. Very interesting.
I love that.
Yeah. So looks like here we have a report here from Sophie McAvoy, who's a staff writer here at Games Industry. Disney is reportedly looking to acquire Electronic Arts, or a company of a similar scale, as a way back into games publishing. As reported by Bloomberg, some Disney executives have allegedly suggested that CEO Bob Iger could transform the company from a gaming licensee to publisher by acquiring EA. Iger is reportedly non-committal about the potential acquisition. EA reportedly discussed acquisition plans with Disney last year. The publisher also allegedly talked with NBC Universal, Amazon, and Apple. However, talks with NBC Universal reportedly fell through. Disney was a games publisher until 2016 when it closed Disney Infinity Studio Avalanche and exclusively stuck to a licensing model for properties it owns for developers to use. Recent Disney licensed games include Return to Monkey Island, Disney Illusion Island, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Upcoming titles include Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Spider-Man 2, Star Wars Outlaws, Indiana Jones game by Wolfenstein developer Machine Games. In recent years, Disney has told GamesIndustry.biz it's keen to work with studios of all sizes as it expands its presence in games, most recently emphasizing that no IP is off limits to indie developers. This is interesting, because kind of like it said, we haven't seen any kind of first-party stuff from Disney as a publisher since, like it said in the article, Avalanche with Disney Infinity. Which to my knowledge wasn't huge. It was just off of the big toy craze, with Skylanders and all that. And I had a friend who I went over to his house, and he had a bunch of Disney Infinity figures. He had the I don't know if it was a figure, but he had in the game we flew around on the Milano, the ship from Guardians of the Galaxy. We did that. But yeah, I played that a few times. I mean, I had fun playing with my friend. I never really played the actual game itself. It was more just the sandbox mode. I think it was called Toy Box or something like that.
Yeah, and to that point of Avalanche, which it's an older story, 2016, 300 employees were laid off as a result of that studio closing down, which, I could say the generic stuff of this kind of acquisition if Disney were to go get something like EA, which is, the big company that abuses its franchises, that constantly tries to pushes things like AI, and I believe also didn't even for some of their shows that they've been doing recently, Marvel shows, even have showrunners for it. I don't trust Disney to be getting into the games industry. They've already had an example of them doing so when they were more at their height. Back during 2016 when they were really releasing the movies that people were flocking even more so to the movies to see. Tavin, if he was here, he would know exactly what movie came out in 2016 when this thing closed and, the years prior to this when it was around.
Oh, geez. I definitely don't.
I don't know. We're not Marvel fans or losers, so... I mean,
don't get me wrong, I am a Marvel fan. I just know my, time thinking of when movies came out and knowing year to year is closer to 2018.
Fair enough. What
2016 2018 you got Black Panther, Captain Marvel.
Okay, those ones.
Infinity War. Yeah.
Okay, so it was doing things like Civil War at that point, around Winter Soldier. Prior to it would be the main past Marvel movie titles. As far as their hate is concerned.
Civil War, I think, was 2016. It was either 2015 or 2016. I can't remember. Then I know 2017 was, I think, Guardians Volume 2.
2016.
That was 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
2017 was Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. Yeah. No, not Love and Thunder. That makes more sense.
No, Love and Thunder came out this year.
Yeah, it came out this year. Damn. Fucking Christ. Or last year? Maybe?
No, I think it was... No, it might have been last year.
Well, either way.
No.
They've proven they failed in this area already. So unfortunately, fortunately, I should say, Iger seems, like you said, non-committal. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who sees the money bucks, the money signs. Yeah. And if they failed in the past, maybe there's no reason to go back into it with a big thing like EA, which would be a hassle. That's no small group. That's one of the biggest publishers in gaming.
Massive.
And very, very big. And the other thing that makes me interested is, even though we're getting the report on Disney here in this article, they talked with NBC Universal, which fell through, but they also talked with Amazon and Apple, which Amazon they've been kind of more getting into the games industry, so I could see them as being a big potential buyer.
What was? I'm thinking of Google Stadia, not Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say Google what was their thing, but yeah, Stadia. I mean, that's not a thing anymore. But that was their big thing.
It was, and they don't seem to be getting in on this deal, thankfully, because they also, I think, proved that they're not cut out for this industry. Just because you're a big company, as like Disney, doesn't mean you should get involved in every aspect of development. Stick to movies and TV shows as bad as you already do them.
I just think you know, if you got some of these games that they bring up, you got Lego Star Wars, which is always going to sell. You've got the Jedi series, which Respawn has been kicking ass with. I just feel like if you're fine with just the licensing thing, you know, and just letting other people use that and make things, because let the game developers take your ideas and make them into games, you know, like let's not break into a new ground here. Let's just, if it's not broke, don't fix it, is what I'm getting at here, you know, because I feel like there's nothing wrong with them sticking with the licensing model that's, I think, relatively worked since 2016, you know, like it hasn't been like gangbusters or anything like that, but it's I feel like it's worked for them mostly.
No, definitely. And I think that's why Iger is non-committal to it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's just, there's no reason. They have these licensing games, and they're doing extremely well, and they have a ton coming up right now. It'd be kind of weird to, you know, have to be spending a lot more money just to make your own games, which, like I said, you could just fail at again like you did in the past. So I hope that this doesn't occur. I hope EA just stays on its own. I know they might want to, you know, keep on looking because maybe they don't want to stand on their own anymore.
Yeah. But
I hope they continue to do so, just for the sake of not having, like I said, a few companies own too much of the entertainment industry.
Let's be real. Disney has a lot of fucking money.
But yeah,
they have a lot of fucking money. But it costs a lot to make games. It costs a lot to make movies. It costs a lot to make a lot of things. I just feel like this is one pie that Disney doesn't need to stick their fingers in, you know?
Yep. Though video games do make more money than movies do, so that dollar sign's tempting for these big companies.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't have that will.
All right, moving to our last penny here. Sorry, I didn't do the rigmarole earlier, but it's no big deal. We don't need to worry about the 2 pennies, two topics, 2 pennies, if you will. Being my
this being my. Let me give you our penny. 2 cents on them.
Let me give you our 2 cents on them. You're right. We didn't do that.
That's the one. Oh, shit.
It's no big deal. Just throw the whole fucking podcast away, right?
Yeah. Restart.
Moving on here, we've got from PlayStation Blog, the PlayStation Slim, Connor, the PlayStation 5 Slim. Smaller PS5 design comes with. New look for PS5 console this holiday season. The smaller PS5 design comes with a 1 terabyte storage for PS5 and PS5 Digital Edition. New model provides an option to add an Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive to PS5 Digital. As the holiday season approaches, we are excited to share that we have a new PS5 model launching to address the evolving needs of our players. Our engineering and design teams collaborated on a new form factor that provides greater choice and flexibility. The same technology features that make PS5 the best to play are packed into a smaller form factor along with an attachable Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive and 1 terabyte SSD for more internal storage. That's interesting. So it's like you get... okay, sorry. I think I was misunderstanding that it was like an option for the disc drive or the terabyte SSD. I think that's what I was thinking it was. Or maybe is that what it is?
I think that's no, because they had the attachable Blu-ray disc drive, because they had the whole thing where even though they they're moving, they seem to be moving away. So
the only like optional thing is the disc drive. It already has the terabyte SSD.
Yes, it does.
Gotcha.
It's yeah.
Gotcha. New PS5 model will be available starting this November in the U.S. at select local retailers and direct PlayStation.com. Continue to roll out globally in the following months once inventory blah 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 blah. $499.99 USD for the disc drive one, and then the digital is $50 cheaper at $449.99. Which, I mean, I think that was the same for whenever the first editions of the PS5s came out, right? Wasn't it $50 for the additional? I mean, you would know. You're the only one out of the 3 of us that have the disc one.
So the way that it was was $600 for the disc and $500 for the normal no disc.
Never mind.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like that should be what it is. Like, it's been a second since I got it, but disc edition, yeah. So it should be $600. Yes, it's $600. So, it's
Connor, you're fucking crazy.
I like my disc drive. That's what I want. I don't care what you fucking losers say. It needs to persist. It needs to go on.
Yeah,
that's what has to happen.
You're fucking crazy. That's a totally unnecessary extra $100 expense that you could have bought an extra controller with that.
I disagree. No, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong here. Damn, it's been so long. You think that it's just like no. So what it was $400 for the PS5 version, without the disc. It was $500 for the disc version. I was wrong with that.
Okay.
So as far as prices are concerned, the digital edition's still a bit more. Because at the end of the day, it is smaller. It does the exact same kind of stuff that the PS5 already does. Even though its size is small.
I don't know. I feel like it being more than is that true that it's more than the original list price for the PS5?
Yes, because the original PS5, the without the disc drive.
Oh, you're right. Because it doesn't have the terabyte SSD, right?
No, it should actually. It should have the terabyte.
The base PS5?
Yeah, I thought it did. It should.
Then why is this so much more expensive?
Well, it's $50 more expensive for the digital version because it's slim. It does the same thing and it takes up less space.
Connor, before we started this podcast, you literally went and measured the console and compared it to this. It's not $50. It's not worth it. It's by no means.
Yeah, at the end of the day... Oh, no, so the storage of the original one was 825 gigabytes, which is very strange. So it's like not even a terabyte. But still, you're $50 for that and the size difference.
That's like 175 gigs less than the terabyte.
One more game, which is, in today's day and age, isn't exactly as much.
That's like... when you say one more game, you're thinking of like your Jedi Survivors, all right? They're not going to be that... Not all games are going to be that big.
No,
sure, games are getting bigger and bigger every year, but this will get you like 2.5 games.
Yeah, but PlayStation has all those big games that they release. That's their big. They like the big narrative games, so that's always what I go to.
You're right.
When I think PS5, but you are right as well. For anything not that, it wouldn't be that much. But the bigger issue, other than that this console has, is like you were saying. I did measure it, and it is smaller objectively. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. But is it so smaller that it's, one of the issues with the PS5 is that it's pretty bulky. It's big. And this doesn't really cut down on that at all. The dimensions where it is smaller are only by like a couple of inches, just to make it more compact, but not in any real substantial way.
And look, my PS5 already came with a stand. I'm not buying this vertical stand separately, all right?
Mm-hmm. And they're doing it because people always expect the slim version of the console.
So not only, Connor, not only is this one more expensive than the base one for being smaller, you also have to pay extra to get a stand to stand it up vertically.
Well, at least you get an extra 150 gigs, 175 gigs. That's something like
this is dumb.
Fair enough. I'm not dumb. One who buys this stuff. It's not for me. It's for people who... it's to get more PS5s out there and get them in advance before Black Friday. Because this releases in November. Who knows exactly when? I'll be dumbfounded if they do this after Black Friday, which is when people are going to buy their Christmas gifts. Yeah. It's just a way to get more consoles out into the open and do the thing that they've had since the PS2 era with the PS2 Slim. That's just what they do.
I don't know how I feel about like the little horizontal stripe.
Yeah, fair enough. It's not like
because it's like I'm looking at my PS5 down below my desk here, and I'm like, I feel like I'm only liking it because it looks different. Like, it doesn't really do anything for me. Like it's not. Yeah. Like the stripe isn't. I don't know. It's. I just think this is dumb.
They're doing the stripe fill because the dimensions are so similar. That's the best way you can tell the difference.
You're right. You gotta differentiate it somehow.
And the thing I would give people caution, if you're like the kind of guy, I don't know who does, who are like, well, the Slim, I want the next version. It's not much of a difference, as I just said, in size. And we have some murmurings that the PS5 Pro will be coming out possibly next year, which, I'm once again, like, I'm not the kind of guy that buys the Slim, and seeing as how my PlayStation 5 still runs games perfectly fine, and I'm content with it as it is, I'm not interested in any Pro. But for those of you that do want to get another version of the console, or jump into it, in this later date, I would almost suggest just waiting for a little while, because who knows how long it'll take for an actual, like, performance-wise better console to come out in just a short while. And that's speculation. You don't have confirmation on that.
I stand by that this is dumb, right? I've said it a few times this podcast, but so am I.
Oh God!
And so when they do come out with the PS5 Pro, I will probably eventually get it.
Sure.
Just so I don't know, I can put the Pro in my office that I'm in right now and move this PS5 out in the living room.
It's easier for certain. I mean, that'd not be a bad idea. It just makes the whole process go a lot smoother. Having two, and also having one that just performs better. There's reason to buy that one, but I'm right in your aisle. I don't think this is a cool thing at all. I think this
or Connor, I could do one of two things, because me and Ash, we have a Fire Stick ever since I moved my PlayStation into the office here.
Useful.
From the living room. So I don't know if I would move the PlayStation into the living room, or if I would move or if I would leave it there and put the PlayStation into the bedroom.
Yeah, those are. I mean, you have a lot more options when it comes to having a lot of PS5. I feel like putting this in like if you were to get the Pro at a later date, taking the one you have now and putting it in like the living room, and Fire Stick in your own room, because Fire Stick's like, it's small, it's compact, it's not bulky, and if you're going to be watching, I think, nicer things on I guess because there's more chance of guests coming over and playing on the PS5 in the main room, as opposed to using the Fire Stick in the main room when you could just have it in your own personal room.
Right, and you can watch things on the PlayStation, right?
Yeah,
it's an all-around entertainment device,
It'd be better if you had a disc reader so you can play Blu-rays, but you can buy the extra.
Here's the thing, though: you don't need physical media.
Lame. You don't want to collect Criterion Blu-rays or cool box art games. That's lame.
Okay, I will say I buy primarily, I think 70% of my, no, more than 70%. I think it's something like 85% of my Switch catalog is physical media. That's just because I like the cartridges and I like that. Because they're nice and compact, they're easy to carry around. I like the idea of having my games case full,
Yeah, I mean, keep their own, I guess.
Yeah, but as far as discs go, I don't need discs. Don't need them.
I always be the defender of it. I like the in the same way I like having a physical book, which is of course very different from a physical game. Very different.
Yeah, I can't read. So
I am also physical. Oh shit! I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just insulting my literacy over here. It's fine.
You know what? I'll insult your literacy. You should read. Look at that. Purified drinking water, loser. Oh yes, you can't read it, but you can drink it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Well, anyway, Connor, that's the Two Penny Gamescast right there.
And we're done. Goodbye, guys.
That's it. Go home. It's over. But no, don't go home, because right after this, we're hopping into my review of Assassin's Creed Mirage, which for us hasn't happened yet, but it hasn't happened for you either. So we'll all find out together how I feel about the game.
Remember, go and find us on the other places you can find the Gamescast, Spotify.
All your favorite podcasting services, your favorite platforms that you like to listen to podcasts.
We got Hype. Have you ever played?
It's true.
Any of those coming out right now?
I mean, just on Tuesday. That's when they used to come out.
All right.
This last one was a day late because Premiere was being fucky, and
No big deal. Meanwhile, I'll be doing Gamecast breakouts on TikTok and on Shorts on YouTube.
Excellent.
We have the Game Club, where it's taking a break for now.
For the month of October, yes, it is taking a break. And then we will be playing
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider. Starting in November, we will be starting to play that, and then we will review it December.
Yes.
Let's see what day in December. December 3rd.
December 3rd. So a little ways off, but go ahead and watch some of the other Game Club stuff. Maybe in order. I'd recommend in order to see where we rank games.
Definitely watch that one in order. Definitely watch that one in order. We have a playlist for that one.
So go to the bottom. Go to the last uploaded. I mean the oldest. Go to town. Watch them. Enjoy them.
Absolutely.
And go and watch the Piggy Bank as well. It comes out every Saturday.
It's our casual gaming podcast with our casual gaming buds.
For you.
Connor, let's go ahead and hop in to the review right now. What is up, guys? Welcome to another Two Penny Games review, this time for Assassin's Creed Mirage. Tavin's not here, so it's just me and Connor coming right from the Two Penny Gamescast. Once again, Tavin, the glue that holds us together, just absolutely fantastic. I love Tavin so much. Isn't he great?
I love Tavin. He is great.
Connor, I kind of just want to get into it. This past episode of the P Bank, I kind of shared. I was pretty tight-lipped on it, kind of like you said during the Gamescast, but I was not feeling this game. Mm-hmm. Trying to think, I was worried there was a minute playing this game for the first 3 times, sitting down. Maybe I'd probably be closer to just the first 2 times. I think the third time's when I started to get it. I was like, man, do I just not like Assassin's Creed anymore? Is that what's happened to me? Luckily for me, it just had to do with me just learning the language of this one, because there's some really weird decisions that they made when making this game that I wasn't that much of a fan of. The main one that was kind of keeping me from it is kind of the, you played Assassin's Creed, Connor. You're familiar with Eagle Vision, yes?
Very familiar, yes.
So what threw me off so bad in this one, so I'll use Eagle Vision in an area to look for treasure or my objective, right? And treasure is super easy to find. It's bright yellow, it's like gold, right? Mm-hmm. The objective for this game, it's orange. So I'll be in an area where I'll be trying to figure out what I'm looking for, and not an area like this where it's all open. It's a big building. That's what was really. I felt like I was just getting nowhere. I was just going around this building, everywhere, with certain windows being closed, so many doors being barred. So I have to find a way around them to open the door and get in, or open a window and get in. And it's just so much color around me that they all just blend together. So I'll be looking for this orange thing, which is the objective, and I'll just be I'll pass by it in Eagle Vision and be okay, that's just treasure, right? So I don't need that. And so it almost forced me to collect every single thing in this building until I had my objective.
That's annoying.
Yeah. And that got annoying for the first, 5 or so hours of playing this game.
Damn.
And that's man, that's too much. In actually playing the game, when you get to this point, this is roughly 4-ish hours in, where you're seeing the footage. 4 or 5 hours, something like that. And it only lasted after getting into this open world, getting to a point in the story where everything was kind of open and available to you. It really only lasted about 3-ish hours. So it was probably more a total of 8 hours playing the game. But only 3 of those were me struggling, getting lost, and not knowing where I was supposed to go. Once I was more understanding of okay, I need to look for this specific orange for my objective, it made a lot more sense. I did really enjoy the stealth aspects in this game, particularly the social stealth, where in past Assassin's Creed games, we have this notoriety system, which is if you're looking at the footage, it's like the bottom. You're probably not looking at the footage. I don't think I'm sharing it. It's at the bottom right of the screen. There's like a bar that has like an eyeball, an arrow, and then this symbol. I think it's some kind of symbol of like their language that they speak in the game. And it's for like some big powerful guard that goes around. It's almost like a bounty hunter. But now, in the old Assassin's Creed games, your notoriety only mattered when walking by guards. And so you take wanted posters down, right? And to do that, and like Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 3, that kind of stuff. Now, civilians will recognize you from the wanted posters and then call guards over to you.
Okay.
Which I thought was really cool.
And so what main ways do they revive? Because obviously it's a callback to the old Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
Which I think everyone kind of understands what that's like from a gameplay level.
Mm-hmm.
What are the main differences in comparison to that? Because obviously that's an interesting one to allow for more, because since you're trying to avoid things more often than just like the new Assassin's Creed, which is like it's more RPG focused, action focused. You just fight things, and it doesn't really try to load you in on these, public areas with dealing with those kinds of things, as opposed to a more, focus on stealth.
I think the main difference. So when I was early playing this game, I described it as a unhappy marriage of Assassin's Creed 1 and Valhalla. And that marriage became less and less unhappy the further I got into the game. It was like they kind of started growing on each other. Yeah. And so a lot of the like older aspects of Assassin's Creed games really felt a lot more updated and better. I like the pickpocketing minigame in this one a lot. There's like a whole thing where instead of just immediately pickpocketing something from someone, there's like a little bar, like a diamond that shrinks, and you have to match it up to like another diamond. So, but if you miss, the person's like, "Hey, what the fuck? Guard, there's a guy trying to pickpocket at me," or something. And that was really fun. So I was pickpocketing people left and right, getting good at this. And then there's a skill upgrade that you can get, which makes that game a lot easier and sometimes skips it altogether. And I was like, okay, that's convenient just because like I'm further in the game now, it was fun for the first few times, but like I'm glad that now I can kind of skip it, Yeah. But it was fun while it lasted. I did a lot more pickpocketing in this game than I did what feels like in any other Assassin's Creed game. Another thing that I really liked was the combat in this game. It's not your typical old style Assassin's Creed game where as soon as you kill one guy, it turns into you just hit one button and kill everybody else, just hitting one button at a time. You know what I'm talking about? Where like you counter once and then every single square press or X press after that is an immediate kill. This one, it's all individual. They all have like a defense, like all enemies have like a defense meter and a health bar, to where you have to like parry for each one and sometimes just dodge because they have abilities that can't be parried or can't be blocked. And so it became a more of a dance where like one guy was yellow, so you had to parry him, but another guy was red at the same time, so you got the parry off, but then you had to quickly dodge out of the way of the strong attack, and then you can get the kill off on the guy that's still kind of stunned from your parry. And so it became a lot more, it took a lot more skill, I feel like. Which I got a lot out of the combat in this game. I thought it was really fun. There's a couple really like bitchy trophies in this game, which are one of them is remain in open conflict for 10 minutes.
Yeah, oh god, really?
Yeah, so I did that one today, and it was literally just me dodging and parrying just one guard.
That sounds very fun.
Yeah,
very entertaining.
Not monotonous and mind numbing at all. Sorry, I kind of cut you off. So go ahead.
No. Hey, what's the story like? Is it because I am looking some other gameplay up right now, and it does really just come across as being like more difficult. It looks more difficult, less refined combat for like from the RPG ones. So obviously, it's more of an emphasis on. It seems like it's almost emphasizing stealth more just because the combat.
Definitely, yes. It's definitely more like you don't want to have open conflict because it's not as stacked in your favor. As it kind of was in the RPG ones, where you can kind of just use these super power moves and like
Yeah.
kick one guy off a cliff, which you still can do, but it's not like a big animation where like you can hit other people with like a super, like you call arrows down from the sky and fucking melt them, and there's nothing like that in this game. So it is a lot more kind of how you said, where you do want to approach things a lot more stealthy. What I did not think I was going to like, but I ended up liking a lot, even though I didn't really use it all that much, was the they had, I think they call it like assassin focus, and that's like the teleporting thing where you can kind of like set up a series of kills, a series of like, I think it's up to 5 kills.
Yeah.
And it got kind of cool. And it's on like a recharge where you have to get like stealth kills or like throwing knife kills, any kind of kill that's like not immediately seen by another person. It'll kind of add to your stealth meter or your focus meter. And I really liked that. Like I said, I didn't really use it that much though, because I felt like it was a little too powerful.
Yeah. Definitely in the gameplay bits that I saw when they were showing it off at one of those game shows, it definitely seemed a bit easy. Just take those guys down.
Yeah. There's one thing. What's up? What were you saying?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you get that early? That ability?
You get it, I think. Man, I want to say after your first like big contract kill.
Oh, okay.
There's usually like that first like big thing. Oh, this is your first official like Templar Order of the Ancients kill. Then you get like whatever gimmick ability, So that's when you get this. So it's relatively early. It's not. It's probably, I don't know. This is a pretty short game, so I'm gonna say like 15% of the way through.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. And one thing that I'm gonna get out of the things that I do like about this game and get into the things that I don't like. And one kind of get to the where I'm at with this game, which is if we go by our ratings that we do, I would call this game. Let me look at them real quick. I would call this game anywhere from all right to good, which is our 6s and 7s.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some aspects of this game that I think are good to maybe even great, but I feel like there's even more, if not like an equal amount, that is not good, and that kind of drag it down to that all right thing. So I think I'm gonna stick with all right for this game. If you like Assassin's Creed games, this game, I think you'll get something out of it. You'll have a relatively good time, kind of like how I did. I do think that this game is deserving of the 77 on Metacritic or OpenCritic. I can't remember exactly what it's at, but I think it's pretty deserving of that. It is a, if we go into like school grades, it is that definite like C plus average, like C average video game. Yeah. So
average, very.
Let me go ahead and, I'm gonna just real quick dive into to what I don't like about this game.
Yes.
I don't like that a lot of. Sorry, I just made us not be able to be visible there. I don't like the fact that they took away being able to climb everything, because what they turn it into is a very arbitrary dance of, hey, you can climb this one tower one specific way, and it's extremely annoying. And there was one bit, I don't think I captured it, but there was a, the vantage points where like you can kind of see everything around you or whatever. There was one from there where you just dive into a cavern, and then to climb, you hit the X button and you move your stick where you want to go, right? Mm-hmm. So there were 3 separate times where I was holding X and then moving just so I can go up, but he would dive off of whatever I was trying to climb into the water that was at the bottom of the pit. And I'm like, dude, this is so fucking annoying. I don't like. I kind of have it. In my notes here, I have it. The climbing is super clunky and arbitrary. there are a lot of bugs in this game that I experienced. Not being able to shop at some of these vendors. I'll walk up to them and they just will not let me shop with them. Even though I'm not in combat, I'm not in any kind of thing. It should totally let me hit triangle to talk to these people. But I just can't. And so I have to load into another fast travel point, then walk back to where they are, and hey, I'm fine. Or just go to a different shop altogether, and I'm fine. And that's super annoying. A lot of times the game will misinterpret your inputs. So I'll be kind of running along kind of like what I was talking about with the vantage point where I kept diving into the water. I was just trying to jump to another part that you could climb to, but he would just dive off into the water. There was a time where I was running along a rooftop, and I would hit circle just to I would stop, hit circle just to hang down, but he would just keep running. Like he would almost like resume his momentum from running, and then just drop down to the floor. There's a few towers with open windows that are a bitch and a half to climb through, and it's super annoying. It's just there's just so many parts of this game that just reveal how not very polished it is. There was sorry, go ahead.
Sorry to derail you from your train of thoughts.
No,
but I was curious, was the story good, or is it kind of like a pretty milquetoast one?
It was. I liked it. This is very much where there was the rumor where this was not the rumor. I think it's confirmed that this was originally a expansion for Valhalla, and they kind of just made it into its own game. It does very much piggyback off of what you should already know about this character Basim from Valhalla, and it's kind of his origin story and how he becomes, spoiler alert, how he realizes he's like the reincarnation of Loki, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's like basically how it ends, is you find out exactly how he learned he was the reincarnation, something like that. But I thought overall the story itself was pretty okay. I didn't hate it. There were some bits that were very weird where you'd be in engine in a cutscene, right? And then it would go to a not super pretty pre-rendered cutscene with like black cinematic bars being like this. He talked about I can't remember what any like the code names for these evil villains were, but like the shopkeeper, you've been poisoning the bazaar with your terrible deals or something like that, and it would be like him just narrating, talking about how he's going to kill this person.
Yeah. This generic spiel.
Yeah. I will stop you from hurting these people any longer or something like that. And it's I don't know. It was very corny. And like I said, for a pre-rendered cutscene, it didn't look very good, especially on PS5. Sure, there were other moments that I thought looked great. A lot of the open desert and like the skybox is just beautiful. Just looking at the sky and how like the sunset and everything over like a sand dune and everything. It is a lot of it looked really, really good. Some of the facial animations were very weird and didn't really work, which I feel like is par for the course with Assassin's Creed games. Some of the voice acting kind of fell flat for me. Like, who I was expecting to be the best in this game, who was like that big actress who they hired for her voice, there were just a few lines that just really fell flat for me, like I said. And the young Basim voice from like the beginning of the game, and that he kind of grows into it. He kind of grows on you towards like the middle to the end of the game, where maybe it's just me getting used to the voice, but like him as like the young Aladdin street thief, street rat kind of deal. It was very not good. It didn't really click for me. I don't know. I think I would only recommend this game if you're like a hardcore Assassin's Creed fan.
Which is what it's made for.
Yeah.
I guess I'll bring this up because I did find it interesting. It was on the Gamescast we did recently. I was wanting to bring up this story, but we ended up not doing it. Now is a better time to do it. That Ubisoft says Assassin's Creed Mirage is its biggest new gen launch to date. Their sales have been incredibly high, like kind of similar to when it was on like Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. Mm-hmm. And I do think it's interesting that obviously it got the attention it did because it does go back to the more Assassin's Creed based roots.
It is also worth noting that this is not a full priced game.
Even better, right?
Yeah, which I think only works in this game's favor.
It's $40, right?
It's $50.
$50, okay. Yeah. More reasonable. And yeah, it would have been $40 before the price hike stuff.
Right,
right. I do find it interesting that, once again, these smaller games are still doing really good. Like, and it doesn't need to be this big, expansive, game to have all of this to get the sales that those bigger ones do.
Yeah, like I wonder how this would have performed if it was just a Valhalla expansion. Mm-hmm. I feel like it almost definitely would have been worse, right? Like I don't know.
Could have easily been.
Because I wasn't all that into Valhalla. Like, I didn't do all the expansions and everything. I barely finished the story of that game.
No one cared.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this release kind of helped the Assassin's Creed franchise overall. Because I did enjoy my time with it. I will more than likely end up getting the platinum because, like I said, it is relatively easy. I'm already after I don't know how many hours, and let me see my hours real quick. My current hours, I'm about 17 hours into this game, and and I'm I think 75% of the way through the platinum.
Okay. Yeah, and you're gonna get the platinum, right?
Yeah, I'm almost definitely going to get the platinum. But yeah, I don't know. This game was a little bit of a roller coaster for me. I think overall I will stick to like my rating of all right, that it's an all right game.
Mm-hmm. Seems to be the consensus. Do you think they could maybe revitalize it by just making more interesting mechanics while still staying in this old Assassin's Creed mold, or do you think this is just where it's at?
I feel I see no reason for them to kind of take the step back from where they've been going with the kind of more RPG open world games, where I feel like those games have been fine and sure they haven't been like phenomenal, at least not since Origins or Odyssey. Mm-hmm. Which is, of course, only one game, being Valhalla. But a lot of people like Valhalla the best out of those three.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me.
Everyone likes their own stuff.
Yeah, to each their own. But I wouldn't call this game bad by any means. But, if you're not like a hardcore Assassin's Creed fan, I like I said, I just don't think I can really recommend it.
Yeah, it definitely has that base.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't really think I have much else. Do you have any questions or anything?
I have one last question.
Go ahead.
Because it's consistently been the dumbest thing in all the Assassin's Creed games to this date, which is the implementation of real-world stuff going on. Does that still happen?
Like, you're talking about...
someone's in an animus, someone's in some kind of device.
Oh, no, there's nothing like that.
Damn, nice. That's good.
I mean, there's a little bit... There's maybe a little bit... I think there's like an opening narration where it's like talk. It's. I think it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be Desmond's dad, William Miles.
Oh. Huh.
But it's not the same actor, or it might have been the same actor from Valhalla, because they might have recast him. Because originally he was played by the same guy who played. You watch Breaking Bad, right?
Oh yeah.
The flight engineer who was Jane's dad.
Oh, him.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's who originally played. I can't remember the actor's name, but the one that accidentally caused the two planes to collide.
Spoilers.
You know, I mean, is it that's like that's far from the biggest spoiler in that show. Also, if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, fucking watch Breaking Bad. Jesus Christ, it's literally one of the greatest shows of all time.
It is. I'll agree with that.
But yeah, I can't quite. I want to say that's who narrated it to begin with, because he was talking about how. Yeah, I think that is how it started. So that's the closest thing we get to like the present day.
Present time. But it sounds like they at least delivered on what people were expecting from these older Assassin's Creed games in the modern age.
Somewhat, I would say somewhat. Yeah, I was kind of hoping this game would be better.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, just all the bugs and everything didn't really help it.
Bugs are a game killer, but at least it didn't seem like it had that much, like enough to break it.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything as egregious as like what Cyberpunk did when it launched. You know,
that's a high bar
for I think most people. So
yeah,
nothing to that level of like terrible.
I mean, I guarantee you, Lords of the Fallen has worse mechanics. I mean, worse system issues.
Oh, really?
Because I played a little bit of. Still planning to hop back on that, but
oh man,
yeah,
that's tough to hear, especially since you have that game in Fantasy Critic.
Oh yeah,
we also didn't bring it up, but you also have Sonic Superstars in Fantasy Critic, which is doing better than Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah, because the Sonic fanboys like you come out and you jerk it off when you can, because it's Sonic, despite it being, you know, even though it's the return form of older games,
or it could just be a better game.
Sure, if you just play the same games since the 1990s. Sure, I agree.
Also, shout out to my B-roll for this. Sorry, I just clicked off again by mistake. Shout out to my B-roll being like this same mission that I keep fucking up over and over because I'm supposed to not be detected or something like that. So I just end up doing the same thing over and over and over.
Well, just play Odyssey and you'll be able to just kill them all with, you know, like ground pound moves that just like cause explosion effects or whatever.
I do think I am going to get back to like my quest to platinum all the Assassin's Creed games after this year. I might also, because you know scheduling this month is hell when it comes to games because there's so many. But you know we're in the shit. 5 days until Spider-Man releases, so at least
you'll collect those feathers before then.
Yep. It's funny that you said that because literally I picked up a peacock feather in the game when you said that. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
In the game footage?
Yeah, in the game footage.
I'm omnipotent.
You are. You know everything. Connor, thank you so much for joining me for this review. If you're a big Assassin's Creed game fan, you know, pick up Mirage. It's reasonably priced, I think, and you'll get a good 15, 16, maybe more hours out of it. I think it's a relatively good time. The story is kind of just there, but you know it's a lot more stealth focused than the other games have been, which I mean I think has been good. One thing I didn't bring up was pretty much all the enemies except for like one enemy type are one hit kill assassinations, which
I've seen that.
Yeah, which is I think really good. Because that's kind of the point of Assassin's Creed is that you're being stealthy and you're taking these guys out with one hit, you know.
Definitely went away from that with these last titles,
for sure,
Valhalla and whatnot.
Yeah, it's not like level based like it has been, you know.
Yeah. Which surprised me. It surprised me seeing assassinations like that when that wasn't a factor. After playing all these or seeing all these other games in the new Assassin's Creed catalog, completely opposite of that.
Connor, are you going to pick this game up?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not in the slightest, yeah. I would only play the older Assassin's Creed game if we do it on our game club. Other than that, I have no interest in them. I've watched my brother play them back in the day. I know what to expect.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this review, Connor. I guess we'll just go ahead and just say goodbye to the people.
Bye, and thanks for watching.